Hi, I'm Chris Connor for DIY Stud Finder. Today I'm going to show you that it's easy being green with the right project. All you have to do is plan a little and come across the right materials. Now, I made a bowling alley computer desk out of reclaimed bowling lanes that I purchased at an auction. Of course, the lanes are a lot heavier than first anticipated, and come to find out they were strapped together with angle iron to help maintain the integrity of the boards. Now, these reclaimed lanes are over 50 years old, which means the angle iron is a lot harder and stronger than the stuff that is forged today. So with help from a few of my friends, we were able to get the lanes cut down to a manageable size and back to my workshop. When working with reclaimed materials, check out salvage yards. I was able to find an aluminum channel to wrap around my desk and square steel poles from an old display rack to cut down and use for the front legs on the desk. Now, I was able to purchase the metal pieces for around $12. Now, there are definitely great finds to be had at your local salvage yard, and you're doing something good for the planet. You just have to take a little extra time to look for it. Now, the desk is going into a cozy office that is only 9 feet long and 6 feet wide. So I had to be creative with the space. Now, I made the desk 7.5 feet long and 2 feet wide, and it's just over 2 inches thick. Now, at this size, the desk is weighing in about 200 pounds. So I have to make sure that it is supported correctly. First, I moved the angle iron closer to the ends of the desk and secured it with 1.5-inch screws and washers. I also used a rigid angled piece of aluminum secured to both ends. By securing the lanes this way, it will prevent the desk from bowing since the boards are laid lengthwise next to each other to form the lanes. To prevent bodily harm, I am notching the angle iron and putting a 45-degree cut on the front side. On the back, there is a 2-inch notch to clear the wall support. I had to use a cutoff blade to get through the steel because it was too hard for the blades on the Sawzall. I then rounded the sharp edges with an angle grinder. The next step is to clean up the grime off of the aluminum channel. I used an orbital sander with 120 grit sandpaper. Since I'm going for an industrial look, I can do this freehand without clamping the work down. After the aluminum is cleaned up, I go back with a smaller orbital sander and 80 grit paper for my design, which is a staggered spiral. It's easily achieved in the aluminum since it is a soft metal. Once the design is complete on the aluminum, I move on to the legs, which is not as easy to create since the metal is steel and harder than the aluminum. Remember, persistence is important here, and you will be able to achieve the same results. Next, to support the weight of the 200-pound table, it has to be tied into the wall. To do this, I first measured 28 inches from the floor to get the top of the desk at 30 inches. I then used my level as a straight edge to draw a line for placement of the 2x4. Using a stud finder, I marked the studs to secure the 2x4 to the wall using 3.5-inch lag bolts and washers. To help hold the 2x4 in place to drill the pilot holes for the lags, I used my portable air nailer and 2-inch brads to hold it into the wall. Before driving the lags into the board, run the threads through a bar of soap to help add lubricant to them. Normally, I would recommend using help to lift something this large into place. Unfortunately, I didn't have anyone available. Thankfully, by using the wall support as leverage, I was able to prevent what I would call a comedy of errors from occurring. Once the table was in place, I was able to pop the legs into the pre-drilled holes. This adds the support to the front of the table needed to hold it in place. One final touch I added to the desk is a 2-inch conduit coupling towards the back of the table that allows the cable to pass through. This prevents them from hanging over the desk. By using reclaimed materials and taking advantage of the strength and natural beauty of the wood used in the bowling alley, this desk will give me many years of enjoyment. For DIY Stud Finder, I'm Chris Connor.